Welcome to my channel Click and Design. Let's get started. So today we'll see how to start a new Revit MEP project. For that I will go to New in Models, and here I have the new project and template file. From here I need to select the template file. As you can see, I have some default template files over here, and every template file is specified for a specific work. Like construction template, it is for construction project. Then mechanical template, it is for mechanical project. I need to find a template where I can do all the work regarding mechanical, or it can be structural or architectural. For that I need to go to browse, click browse, and then go to folder templates, and you can see we have US Imperial templates over here and US metric templates. If you want to choose Imperial units, you can go to US Imperial folder, and here we have system default template. Okay, and then open it and then create new, check this project. Okay, so our template has started to load. In system default template you can see all the disciplines together, so you can convert this template into a project easily. So here we have this template over here. First of all, we will start with the project units. For that I will go to manage, and here I see project units. We'll click over here, and here I see the project units. So as we have chosen Imperial units, so you can see all the units are Imperial. Let us suppose I want to change the units of this length. I want the metric units. So click over here, and in the units you can see feet and fractional inches. You can change them into millimeters and press OK. So you will see the length units are changed into centimeter, and rest of the units are in Imperial. So we have some disciplines like HVAC. You can see here the density and the units. So again, if you want to change the units of the density, just click over here, and in the units you can see we have different units. So you can choose the unit which is more preferable to you. Okay, so this is how we change units in a project. Now we have the project information. To start a project we should specify the project information. For that, again in manage tab you can see over here we have the project information. Okay, just click over here and you will see the project information window and the parameters. So first of all we have identity data. Here you can specify these parameters like organization name, description, building name, author. Okay, next we have energy analysis and route analysis. This is for the designing purposes. If you have this data you can specify it. In the other you can see the project issue date, project status, client name, project address, project name and number. So if you have all this data you can specify over here and then click OK. All the information will be stored in your project. So next we have the project location. Project location is very much important if you are considering designing in Revit. For that, again in manage tab you can see over here project location. For that I will go to this location, and then here you can see, here you can specify the project address over here. Let's say I want to specify the project location to be Perm, Russia. Okay, and then search. It needs internet connection to be. So we have some option over here, like you can see Perm, Russia. You can just select it, and you have specified the project location, and then click OK. Now we have mentioned the project location. Now the next thing is how to link external files to the Revit. For that I will go to insert, and first option I see is link Revit. From here I can link an external Revit model to my Revit project. So let's click link Revit, and then here I can select the file which I want to link. So I have this architectural file over here. Let's select it, and in the bottom you can see positioning. So first option we have is auto center to center. Let us suppose our Revit project and our Revit model, this architect model, have centers. So you can use tool auto center to center to superimpose both the models over each other about their centers. Okay, if the centers are not specified, we have next option, auto origin to origin. Origin is the point where x, y and z coordinates are 0. Okay, if we have origin for both the files, we can select auto origin to origin and the models will be superimposed to each other about their origin. Okay, next we have the auto by shared coordinates. If the user has the coordinates of both the files, he can define the coordinates and can superimpose both the files to work with. Okay, generally we use auto origin to origin. It is the most simplest method. So we'll choose auto origin to origin and then open. So you can see the architect model has been opened and linked to the Revit project by the origin. Now we'll talk about how to manage this link, this architect linked. For that, I'll go to manage. In the manage tab, here I have manage links. In the manage links in the Revit file, you can see architect model. This is the file which I have linked to the project. If you'll select this file, you will get lot of options here on the bottom. First is remove. If you want to remove this model from the project, you can remove it from here. If you want to add one more model, you can add here. If you want to unload it from the manage links, you can unload this file. If you want to reload, you can reload also in this Revit project. And next we have the reload from. Here you can specify the destination from where you need to pick the Revit model. Okay, let us suppose I will now unload this file. Okay, we'll click on unload. So here Revit is asking if you want to unload this file. Yes. Okay, then okay. So we'll see the model has gone. Again we'll go to manage links. Here we have the Revit model again, and let's reload it again. So we'll click reload. So model will get reload to the project and then okay. Here you have the model. So this is how linking of a Revit file works. So now let's see how we can change the visibility of this model view. For that, we'll go to view tab, and in the view tab we have visibility and graphics. In the visibility and graphics, you can see here we have the Revit links on the end, and here we have this architect model which we have just linked to the Revit. So you can see this tick mark, this specify the visibility of this file or this model in the project. If you will unselect it and then apply, you will not be able to see the model. Okay, let's go again back, then Revit links and then check this. Okay, next we have the option half tone. As you can see here, it means that the brightness of the Revit model will be reduced to half. So let's check it and then apply and then okay. So you can see the brightness has become less than before. So let's undo it, press Ctrl Z, and now you can see the difference in the brightness. Redo it. So this is how we can change the brightness. So now let's talk about the elevation. As you can see in this working area, we have this 4 elevation over here. This is the north elevation, similarly the south elevation, the west elevation here, and the east elevation. With the help of these 4 elevation, we can view the elevations of our project. Okay, so to assess the elevation in the project browser, every discipline has some elevations. Okay, to open this elevation, this is the north elevation. To open this elevation, we will go to any of the discipline and will open north elevation. You can see over here in the elevations we have north. So just double click it and you can see this is the north elevation of the project. So let's close it. Let's say I want to open west elevation. For that, let's select west elevation, and this is the west elevation. So this is how you can see your project with the help of elevations from the project browser. So now let's remove this model link from the Revit project. We'll go to manage links, and we'll select this link and then remove. Okay, okay, okay. So we can see the link has been removed. So now let's open the elevation north. When I open the north elevation, I can see here we have level 1 and level 2. These levels are created by default in this system default template. Level 1 is at 0 mm and level 2 it is at 4000 mm. Okay, level 1 is created for the ground floor of any Revit project, and level 2 it is created for the first floor of any Revit project. Okay, and these levels have a difference of 4000 in between them, which can be edited. Okay, so if we'll go to 3D view, so we can see here level 1 and level 2 by default made in this template already. These levels are created just for the reference. Okay, if we want we can create more levels also. So now let's close this 3D and elevation. Okay, now our next tool is how to insert AutoCAD link in this Revit project. For that, again I will go to insert. Here we have link CAD. Okay, the third option, link CAD. It is to link the AutoCAD files to our Revit project. Let's click on this. So here I see I have two floor plans in the desktop stored already. Floor plan level 1. This level 1 I will coincident with the level 1 of the Revit project, and floor plan level 2 I will coincident with the level 2 of the Revit project. So let's start with the level 1. Okay, we have selected the level 1. Then down you can see we have colors. If you can see here in the preview we have this CAD file, it is colored. If you want to preserve the colors you can preserve, or if you want them to be black and white you can make them black and white. So let's select the preserve for the colors. Next we have the layers and levels. Okay. If you want that all the layers of the AutoCAD file should be visible, then select all here. Okay, and then we have next visible. It is for only those layers which are visible in the AutoCAD file. And next we have specify. In the specify, when we will open this file, Revit will ask us to specify the layers which we want to see in the project. Okay, so better we'll select all to see all the layers. Next we have the import units. Here we can specify the units for the AutoCAD file. Okay, or better we should select auto detect, that it will automatically detect the unit from the CAD file. Next is the positioning. So positioning will again prefer auto origin to origin, that the origin of the project will match the origin of the CAD file. And next we have the positioning place at. So I want to place the level 1 floor plan level 1 at the level 1 of the Revit project. So I've chose level 1. Okay, and then we'll check orient to view and then open. So now Revit is importing the AutoCAD file. As you can see over here, the Revit file has been imported to the Revit project. And let's go to 3D. And here you can see, here we have level 1. Okay, and this CAD file is appearing on the level 1. Okay, now let's go to elevation north, and here you can see this is the CAD file and this is lying on level 1. Okay, let's close this elevation 3D also. Now here you can see this drawing is placed on level 1 or one mechanical floor plan. Okay, now to place the different drawing on level 2, we'll select second mechanical. Here we see we don't have any drawing over here, so we'll insert the CAD file over here. We'll go to link CAD, and then here we have floor plan level 2. Okay, and let's select this time colors black and white, positioning auto origin to origin, and this time we'll select place at level 2 and then open. So this drawing will be linked to the second floor or the second level of the Revit project. So let's see them again in 3D. So you can see we have two CAD files which are linked to level 1 and level 2. So this is how we import CAD files and link them to the levels of the Revit project. If you want to remove these CAD files or you want to insert some new CAD files, we'll go to manage, then manage links. In the manage links you can see CAD formats over here. In the CAD formats you can see both the files at level 1 and level 2. If you want to just remove them, just select them and remove. Select and remove. Okay, and you will see the files are gone now. The next tool what we'll see is copy monitor. For that, let's go to insert, link Revit and select the architect model. Position auto origin to origin and then open. See now what we have done, we have linked an architecture model to our Revit project. Let's go to the east elevation over here. Okay, in the east elevation you can see here we have roof, second floor and the first floor. These are basically the levels created by the architecture team. Okay, and we have level 1 and level 2. These are the default levels from the Revit project. So as you can see, level 2 and second floor of this project are not matching. Okay, they are not overlapping. To make them match, we can align them. For that, we'll go to modify. Here we have the align command. We'll align this level 2 with the second floor. For that, we'll select second floor and then level 2. Okay, and then we'll select this block. Now let's see what is copy monitor. Copy monitor, it is used for monitoring the project. As you can see here in this architect model, first floor, second floor and roof are created by the architect team. Let's suppose if in future the architect team want to change the second floor from 12 feet to 13 feet. So how we MEP engineers will get to know about these changes? For this we use copy monitor. With the help of this tool copy and monitor, we continuously monitor the levels created by the architecture team so that any change made by the architecture team can be used by the MEP designers. For that, let's see how copy and monitor works. For that, I'll go to collaborate. Okay, here you can see copy and monitor. We'll select this copy and monitor and we'll choose select link. Okay, when I will take my mouse to this levels, you can see this blue window. When this blue window will appear, you have to click on the project to select the project link. Okay, now we have the monitor tool over here. Let's select this monitor tool. Now we will monitor our level, this level 1. This level belongs to the MEP engineers and first floor belongs to the architects. Okay, so now we will monitor our level. So let's select level 1 and then we'll select first floor from the architect model. Same, then level 2 we will select and then the corresponding second floor from the architect model. So you can see this sign over here, this circle, this belongs to the copy monitor. Okay, now if you want to finish, you can just finish over here. So for that, need to click finish. But you can see we have a roof also over here. It is a part of architect model, but we don't have roof for the MEP project. Okay, for the Revit project. For that, if you want to copy this level from the architect to the Revit project, for that you can select copy and select this link, select this level and a copy will be generated, as you can see, for the MEP project. And here you can see we have two roofs over here and this roof belongs to the Revit project. Okay, now you can simply finish. And now let's see how copy monitor works. Let's see, the second floor belongs to the architect model. I will try to drag it and let's see what happens next. So I will select this and will try to drag it. So you can see suddenly Revit is giving me a warning, monitored link moved. It means if the architecture team will move this second floor, the MEP designers will also get a notification that a second floor has been moved from its initial position. Okay, so this is how copy monitor works. So this is the Revit model which we have linked to our Revit project. Let's open this model in 3D. For that I'll go here and let's see 3D. So in this building you can see we have some plumbing fixtures which is attached to this Revit file, and we cannot remove them because they are attached to this file. Okay, so how to make changes to this linked Revit model? For that, let's close this 3D. Okay, in this view you can see this model. Again, we cannot make any changes, we cannot select anything. These are the plumbing fixtures and we cannot select them to remove them from the view. Okay, if we want to make some custom changes to this linked Revit model, for that let's go to view. In the view have visibility and graphics. There we'll see Revit links. We'll select Revit links. So this is the Revit link which we have linked to the Revit project, and here in the display settings we have by host view. So we'll change this, we'll click over here from by host view to the custom view. Now you can make the custom changes in your linked Revit model. Okay, so let's go to model categories. Here again you need to change the view to custom, and here you can see in the filter list all the disciplines. Now we need to find the plumbing fixtures. Here we have the plumbing fixtures. If we not want to see the plumbing fixtures in the view, just select this plumbing fixture, just unselect this plumbing fixture and then apply. Okay, apply. Okay, so you can see now we don't see the plumbing fixtures. Now we'll see more about the project information. For that we'll go to manage tab, and here you can see we have first of all the materials. If we'll click over here, you can see this is the material browser. From here you can apply materials to the objects. You can see here a lot of materials are present. If you want to create a new material, we have an option over here to create a new material, and you can select the colors. Here you can decide the visibility of the object and can apply. About this we will study in the future videos. Okay, next we have the object style. If we'll select this object style, you can see we have the model objects. First of all, here we have the categories. Here you can define the line thickness, width, line color, line pattern of all these categories what we see, the families of the Revit project. Okay, now next we have the snaps. So here we can see, like AutoCAD, we have all these snaps points over here. It is used during connections or placing of the objects in the Revit project. With the help of snaps, you can easily place your objects or families in the Revit project and can do the editing work easily. Purge unused. If you will use this tool, it will delete all the unused family in your project. Okay, you can see the list of families what we have in this. So purge unused will remove all the families which are idle, which are doing no work. Okay, so next tool we have is transfer project standards. From here, with the help of this tool, you can transfer or copy the project settings from a different project to the current project. Let's suppose I select this transfer project standards. Here I can copy all the standards from this architect model which I've linked to this project, and you can see all these standards, all these settings. Okay, I have checked, and if I'll click OK, this settings will be transferred to the current Revit project. Let's see how to save a Revit project. For that I'll go to file. Here you can see save as Revit project. I will select the Revit project. If I'm having a project, I'll select the Revit project and we'll give a file name to it, and then in the options here you can specify the number of backup copies for this particular project. Okay, and then click OK, and then you can save the project anywhere you want to save it. Okay, by clicking the save button. So this was all about the basic Revit settings which we use to create a new Revit project in Revit MEP.